Hi everyone, Mel popping in here to just say a quick note that today's episode was filmed many weeks ago, before the tragic events of the floodings in Texas and New Mexico. Our hearts and thoughts and prayers are out with the victims. If it is an episode that is too soon for you to be able to listen to, we completely understand, and we'll just bookmark it for when you're ready. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the show.
I don't know if I'm prepared for this.
I don't know if you are either. Okay.
I never know what you're going to say. I really do wonder sometimes. I'm like, where does she find these stories?
I'll never tell.
Any of you?
All right. Welcome to Same Pod, Different Cast. Each week we talk about a crazy story. I'm Mel Black.
And I'm Marie White. We are a couple of moms who like listening to tales of survival, humor, and mystery, but also be around our kiddos. Parental discretion is advised.
Marie, I don't know what it is, but there is something about environmental disasters that I find fascinating. And I think I found one that you will even be interested in, and I promise it has nothing to do with Phenomenies.
How did you say that word?
I did say kind of weird, didn't I? Tsunamis.
Oh, I mean, I love me a good tornado. Like I hate that anybody gets affected by it, but I think they're fascinating to watch. So I understand what you mean by environmental disasters being fascinating. I'm just scared the crap out of giant waves. So, but I appreciate you telling me ahead of time that this has nothing to do with that. And if you go back on that, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
This one's good. This one's good. It has no
Oh,
tsunamis in it.
okay.
Let's jump in. It's April of 1993, and here in Indiana, it's just another spring season. Probably a little rainy, maybe even cold or snowing. But for the people of Missouri and along the Missouri and Mississippi River, this would be a year to remember. Starting in 1992 with a wet fall season, which resulted in above normal soil moisture and reservoir levels in the Missouri and upper Mississippi River basin. When the rain started, persistent weather patterns produced storms over a small location, and the buildup of water in both rivers would then create flooding. The 1993 flooding broke record river levels set during the 1973 Mississippi and the 1951 Missouri River floods. How high, you may ask? The Missouri River's highest point at St. Louis was 49 feet, according to the National Weather Service. And I know that you probably doesn't make much sense to you, so here's a visual. You're looking
Okay.
at a levee, okay? So the levee is on either point. The flood stage is about 3 inches to 2 inches to the top of the levee. The danger zone is an inch,
Danger
like
zone.
the
Had
danger
to do
zone
it.
is about an inch before the top of the levee. That's where you're like, okay, this could go either way. For this example, in St. Louis, the 49 feet was 20 feet above that flood stage of the levee.
You said 20 feet?
20 feet above the flood stage. Here is an image of St. Louis.
Holy crap.
I was watching, it was kind of like a documentary that a news crew had put on about the 25-year anniversary of this massive flood that happened. The photographer was on, and they had said that they were in boats going around capturing images of this, and their bottom of their boat hit the top of a stop sign. That's how tall that was.
Jeez.
This flood lasted up to 6 months in places and affected states such as Missouri, Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, Illinois, and Minnesota.
For the listening audience, this picture is, it looks like a downtown area, and all of the water is almost to the top of the buildings.
To the top of the buildings, yeah. The next picture is of the area in which that was affected. It's basically all the areas along the Mississippi and Missouri rivers.
Jeez.
Yeah. But hey, it's not a tsunami. And all about 50 people perished from this just over the whole thing. Okay. I'm going to jump ahead to around 1998, and a man named Adam Pitluck is a junior at the University of Missouri, working as a journalist at the Columbian Missourian. When his editor came to him and said, I want you to go and talk to a man named James Scott and get his side of the story because something's not adding up. This is what happened. It's July of 1993, and towns like West Quincy, Missouri, where the rest of our story is going to focus, are trying desperately to try and make sure that their levees are staying intact because, again, this water is rising pretty quickly. The National Guard is called in to help build sandbags to reinforce the levee, but unfortunately, there is not enough of them, so the entire town goes out to help. It takes a while, but they are successful in reinforcing the levee. Now it's July 16th, and the Mississippi River is 1.5 feet below the top of the levee, and it has stopped rising. So everyone is just waiting for it to start to rescend. However, around 8 p.m., the Mississippi River begins to cascade through the main stem of the levee and travels 5 miles inland, destroying acres and acres of farmland. In one incident, a barge is sucked into the levee and slammed into a gas station, causing a fire. Between 12 and 15 feet of water flooded West Quincy, a mile-long strip of gas stations, a beauty salon, restaurant, and other businesses. The flood also destroyed several truck stops and closed the Bayview Bridge, a main link between Missouri and Illinois. The bridge was closed for 71 days. Without it, thousands of people who lived in Missouri and had businesses in Quincy had to fly, take a ferry, or drive 80 miles to get to work.
Jeez.
This is a picture of the July 16th levee break, where you can see the river or the water just cascading in.
Okay, am I crazy? Have you not told me why this happened yet?
That the levee broke?
Yeah, like, why did the levee broke?
We'll get to it.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. You haven't told me why this
Yeah, I have
happened.
not told you. The levee
Okay, I
broke.
was like,
They had it
wait,
secured. The levee
yeah,
broke.
okay. I didn't miss anything. I'm good.
You didn't miss anything. So this is another picture of the flooding of Quincy. And the third one
Oh
is
wow, is that an
the
interstate?
I think it was. The third picture is the bridge that I was just talking about that was damaged because as you can see, it ends in water.
Yeah.
Shortly after the levee breaks, reporter Michelle McCormick of WGEM TV, an NBC News affiliate, goes out to report on the levee. And the Department of Transport workers at the edge of the bridge say that a man standing close by was the first on the scene. That man was 23-year-old James Scott, and he volunteers for an interview.
Oh, James.
He tells the reporter that he was out there helping along with everyone else. And before the breakage, he saw seepage and quote unquote boils along the levee and tried to stop the breakage by reinforcing the levee with more sandbags. Then Scott claimed he went to go get a drink and returned to find water gushing through the levee. Quote, I tried throwing sandbags, and it didn't work, is what Scott said in the interview. Now, the interview does not sit well with Neil Baker, a sergeant with the Quincy Police Department. For one, Neil thought James was too clean to have worked on the levee all day. He also thought James had trouble recalling simple details about working on the levee.
It's very
But
detail oriented of you, Neil.
but also because Neil knew James due to James's criminal history.
Oh, and the plot thickens.
He actually was an officer who had arrested James in 1982 when he burned down his own elementary school, Webster Elementary School in Quincy. And in 1988, when he burned down a garage and set several other fires, getting him a sentence of 7 years in prison.
Wait. Okay, how old did you say James was at the time of this interview? 23.
23.
And this interview is taking place when? 1993.
1993.
So in 1982, 10 years before that, he burned down his elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
He was 13.
Mm-hmm.
And he got 7 years in prison?
He got 7 years in prison from the 1988 charge.
Oh, okay. Sorry, missed that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. By 1993, James was working at a Burger King in Quincy while on parole for the 1988 arson conviction and was subject to several other investigations.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Missouri authorities are also suspicious of James. The levee had failed at one of the strongest points, even though the area had been inspected 2 hours earlier. Adams County, Illinois, their sheriff's deputies questioned him a week after the flood, where he denies any wrongdoing. By October of 1993, James was arrested on a separate burglary charge in Illinois, and during his questioning by police, he told them that he had removed several sandbags from the levee just before the infamous Missouri flood. He insisted that he had only removed the bags to point out the problem area in the levee, not to cause a flood.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the prosecution felt that they had had enough to seek charges. So on November of 1994, James goes to trial. The prosecution theory was this. According to the state, a mere removal of sandbags would not have caused the levee to break. The sand and dirt was covered with sheets of black plastic. Sandbags were used to hold down the plastic The theory is that James either removed or cut the plastic sheets and then burrowed into the sand until the water rushed in and destroyed the levee. Prosecutors also claim that James told several of his friends that he wanted to break the levee so that his wife would be stranded on the other side of the river. If his wife was stranded, James allegedly told his friends he could party, have an affair, and create ideal fishing conditions.
Oh my God. What?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, my guy. Like, there are better solutions if you want to have an affair on your wife. Just divorce her. Why? Why? Why?
I don't know. It was a good question. Shall I keep going?
I'm the create ideal fishing conditions is also like a, a cherry on top of this messed up Sunday. Like,
Yes, absolutely. Prosecutors, however, did not tell the defense about these alleged statements from the friends until they were 2 days into trial.
oh my gosh, Brady.
Yeah, yeah. The defense had asked the judge to declare a mistrial, saying their strategy had been unfairly gutted. This motion was denied, but the judge said that the prosecution can only use the statements as evidence during the rebuttal case if James testified. However, James never did. Defense submitted the TV interviews because he actually interviewed by Michelle McCormick again after he was accused. And it shows James telling a reporter that he had witnessed signs of failure, but his warnings of authorities had gone unheeded. I want to insert this here as part of the trial and later appeal, a little bit of a spoiler. But Marie, do you want to read this next part?
Sure. Several witnesses, including officials in charge of this particular levy and those who impacted at the regular intervals, those who inspected at regular intervals, testified they never heard any report of a problem, nor saw any evidence of impending failure prior to the actual rupture on the evening of the 16th. They testified they had seen no unauthorized persons on the levee during the periodic checks. The defendant was not authorized to go upon nor inspect any levee.
So I know that kind of works against him in a way because he was saying that he was trying to get people's attention on it. But
But
I
it
think
works
it
for
also,
him too.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody can say that he was there.
Yeah. Nobody saw him. Like,
Nobody saw him. They also submit two different soil science experts testifying that there was strong evidence that the levee failed due to natural causes.
oh, interesting. But
Yeah,
I'm so skeptical about this though, because you can pay anybody enough to say anything.
that's true. That's true. However, just kind of more to that point, in the Vice documentary made in 2022, Dr. R. David Hammer, a professor of environmental engineering at the University of Missouri, agrees with this assessment. He had been looking at drafts like this for at least 28 years and adds that the bulldozing and maneuvering of the soil to prop up the levee would ultimately contribute to its failure as well.
Hmm.
Well, the jury didn't agree with Dr. Hammer because they find him guilty of causing a catastrophe. However, James, who at this point is already serving a 10-year sentence for that burglary charge, has some good fortune when on February 25th of 1997, the Missouri Court of Appeals overturned the flood conviction and ordered a new trial. In the ruling, the appeals court said that the prosecution failed to give James's defense proper notice about the statements James allegedly made to the two friends, and that this, obviously is not a good thing.
Yeah, you can't hold that stuff. You have to give it to the defense.
Yeah. So in April of 1998, the second trial starts. Unfortunately, this time the defense knows about these statements, quote unquote, from his friends, so this is allowed in the trial. And do you want to know what else is allowed?
Yeah.
So, one of the patrons of the city who goes to testify is a man named Norman Hare. Now, Norman Hare was the largest landowner on the Missouri side of the river. And he goes up there to testify about the damage that was caused from the levee breaking.
Okay.
What is not mentioned is that Norman got an insurance payout. And furthermore, that this was the only area that had received insurance payouts because it was quote unquote human error. This means that the insurance that the farmers had did not cover acts of God. It would, however, cover vandalism. So the key witness for the prosecution had a financial stake in the outcome and never admitted it.
Oh my gosh. I'm just wow. Okay, sorry.
You're good. You're good. I was gonna let you
Yeah.
just letting you try to process.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, despite their best efforts, after 3 hours of deliberation, James Scott was once again found guilty of causing a catastrophe. The Great Flood of 1993 itself caused an estimated $12 to $16 billion in overall damage, affecting 500 counties and millions of acres. This particular flood, the one in West Quincy, spread across 14,000 acres of farmland, destroying buildings and closing a bridge. However, assigning a precise dollar amount just to his specific actions is difficult because other factors contribute to the overall flood damage. In Missouri, a crime of causing a catastrophe is a Class A felony. According to Missouri sentencing guidelines for Class A felonies, the penalty includes imprisonment of a term of no less than 10 years, not to exceed 30 years, or life imprisonment. Fines are not authorized for Class A felonies in Missouri. So on July 6th of 1998, he was sentenced to 10 years to life.
Jeez.
Adam Pitluck, the journalist from the University of Missouri, who went out to speak to James Scott in 1998, was completely baffled by this story. He believes that James was convicted of a life sentence on a circumstantial case of property damage where no one died or was injured.
I mean, thank God for that. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's right. Like, it doesn't sound like they actually were able to prove this beyond a reasonable doubt.
Mm. So the first image here is the meeting when their first meeting, they took this picture, and the second was about 15 years later in front of the exact same poster.
Oh, wow.
Adam went on to write a book in 2007 called Damned to Eternity: The Story of the Man Who They Said Caused the Flood. And he starred in the Vice documentary in 2022 titled Causing a Natural Disaster to Party: The Case of James Scott. He, along with Dr. Hammer, are working to raise awareness about James's case in an effort to get him released. as of that documentary, James Scott was set to have a parole hearing in 2023. However, for some reason, it was canceled. And now he is set for a parole hearing in 2026. I know. It's the first time I had ever heard of parole hearing get pushed back 3 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
So, what's crazy though is that now 30 plus years later, people think it's astonishing that this man is still in prison because he is still in prison. The prosecutor is actually surprised, and even Norman Hare is surprised. But Marie, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't been able to have an appeal, considering Norman Hare didn't say
Discl-
that he was
dis- yeah,
had
disclose
a
that.
financial stake. Yeah. And I mean, obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what all it takes in order to be granted an appeal. But to me, like, if he did it, it's a horrible thing. But you have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. You can't just go off of hearsay or something that they think happened. And it sounded like they had enough proof to the opposite of it, that there was wrong issues with the soil and that it could have just broke on its own, and that he just happened to be there. Because to me, like, he was too clean. They said he was too clean to be working on the levee all day. But if you had to mess with the levee, wouldn't he have been too clean to even mess with it? Like, because that
Mm,
picture of him, he's got a white t-shirt on, right? Like,
yeah.
and said he doesn't even look like he looked like he had just been walking down the street. Like, he doesn't look dirty. Obviously, I can only see him from the chest up, but to,
Yeah. Here's the question that is burning at me, and maybe this explains it, but I haven't heard anybody ask it, which is how on earth do you find an unbiased jury if basically the whole of Missouri was affected by this flood? So it
yeah,
it kind of reminds me of the first trial of Tim Hennis when the prosecution showed photos of the victims for 90 minutes, and it like everybody just got so riled up that that was the theory, is that that was why they found him guilty in that first trial, because I just think everybody would be so traumatized by the damage that it affected that they would just want to they would want anybody to be guilty of it.
yeah, I could see that. Like, I don't know what it takes for you to be able to get a relocation, but you're still supposed to have a jury of your peers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So it was relocated to a different county, but it's still Missouri.
yeah,
That
you said it affected how many counties? Like,
it affected 500 counties and like 8 states.
yeah, to me this feels icky.
It's just it's not it to me. I was trying to put it in a way that was very unbiased. By the end of it, I knew I wasn't going to be, because I there you cannot convince me that that man got a fair and unbiased jury.
Yeah, I don't think he got a fair trial at all. Man,
Mm-hmm.
today is just weird when it comes to the justice system. As far as, like, obviously this didn't happen today, but you telling me this today, like, I don't know if you heard about, like, Brian Kohlberger today and, like, the Diddy trial that all came out today. Like, it's just been a weird day, like, talking about the
For
justice system and
trials.
kind of the failures in it. And
Yeah,
this just makes me really sad that he's still, like, I look at this picture of him in front of this painting of a forest,
mm-hmm.
and even if he did it, like, it was 10 years to life. What?
So yeah, just for like clarification, it's 10 years to life for this charge, but he had already had an additional 10 years. So he was actually looking at a 20-year to life charge. But life imprisonment for property damage. And so I did this because I'm kind of an idiot, but it sort of helped me answer this question, or this question that I had, which was I accidentally looked up the maximum sentences for Mississippi. And in Mississippi, however high the property damage is how long the charge is. So for example, if you have property damage higher than $25,000, it's already 30 years. So I kind of sort of attribute it to this, which is it's substantial property damage, but it's all circumstantial. The
Yeah.
evidence on how this it's just nuts to me.
And you hear cases like this, and you just wish you could be a fly on the wall in that jury room.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how long it took them to convict him. I
This
wonder.
the second trial, it was 3 hours.
3 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just not long
That's what
at
I'm saying.
all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't know how people were not just already upset about it.
Yeah,
So
they went into it thinking that he's guilty, whether they proved it or not.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I
J-
don't know if he did it or not, but it doesn't sound like he got a fair trial at all.
James Scott has always declared his innocence. He believes he was railroaded due to his history and says he will not admit to something he didn't do, which means he believes that he will not receive parole and will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Man, I mean, I guess more power to him that he just, it's like a point of pride because it sounds like if he got paroled, he would probably have to admit that he did it,
Mm-hmm.
which,
Because
man,
they like show
it's like
remorse, right?
what's worse?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a that was a good story. I'm glad it wasn't a tsunami, but also very sad at the same time.
a tsunami of trauma.
Yeah. Well, it's sad for everyone involved. It's sad for James. It's sad for the people who had their property destroyed. It's sad for the people who couldn't go to work or had to rebuild their homes. Or it's
Mm-hmm.
sad for all of it.
Takeaway is
I'm
I don't
sad.
know. I'm sad.
I'm sad.
Hey, thanks for listening. Research, writing, and editing done by Mel Black. Original music by Caleb Duggar. A special thanks to Marie White. You can find all our sources in our show notes and all of the photos on our Instagram. Username samepoddifferentcast. Follow, like, and subscribe for future content.